I have a confession for you. I think that our industry, the financial planning industry, has done you wrong. And in this video, I want to share with you how I came to that conclusion and how you can learn from that as you transition into retirement. But before you do that, subscribe to our channel and hit the notifications bell below so you can be alerted to when we post new videos. My guess is if you're like a lot of the people that I talk to, you feel like that you've worked really hard for this upcoming retirement and you really want to enjoy it now. Am I correct? But if we continue to go along in the traditional financial planning type of approach during our working years, as we enter into retirement, I don't know that you will truly be able to comfortably, confidently pursue all your retirement goals. I've been in this business for over 30 years now, and I remember in some of my earlier years, I know I'm here in the Boston area and in the Boston Globe, one of the kings of the mutual funds, Peter Lynch, was managing Fidelity Magellan, and he retired, and Morris Smith came in as his predecessor. And what happened was, in the Boston Globe, they showed a chart every single week that Morris Smith was in the helm of the Fidelity Magellan Fund, how that fund had done week by week by week. What was the message here? That we're to gauge the success or failure of a particular fund or investment strategy because of how it did in a very short-term time frame? That's the messaging that our industry has been giving you. What is the best fund? Now, many are familiar with the rating service Morningstar, and they give you a 1 through 5 star system. And some want to go in and get the best 5-star fund portfolio they can get. But the problem with that thought process is it's just a snapshot of where we are at the moment. And it really has little to do with what your own particular goals are. And herein lies the problem for me. We don't show you or share with you how to do the proper planning, which is first to identify what your goals are, and then to align your money management in such a way that you can help to pursue those goals. Now, in the accumulation years while you were working, the goal pretty much was like to, grow my money to a nest egg such that it can generate the income I'm going to need in retirement. So it didn't really matter that you took on too much risk because you had a lot of time on your side, a lot of margin for error, and you had a number of years and hopefully you could overcome some of those mistakes. It really didn't matter very much, particularly if you had a disciplined approach. But now you're entering into retirement. And this is where our messaging has not served you well. Because as you go into retirement, it's now more important to spend time on the planning and the goal setting and the income understanding than it is to develop the money management approach. Because the money management approach will be driven by how you think about and what your needs are for your income and the pursuit of your goals in retirement. I see it all the time in my office with new clients who come in and we start taking a look at the planning and I ask them, well, how would you like to invest the portfolio? How do you think about yourselves in terms of whether you're on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very conservative, 10 being very aggressive, and more often than not, it's the answer's somewhere around 5, right? That's sort of middle of the road, moderate. Some are a little bit more conservative. They may be a 4. But then we look at the portfolio And what we recognize more often than not is they're taking on more risk than they should have as they go into retirement. Now, it was okay to take on that amount of risk because, again, the goal was to grow the money. So if the money was in your 401k or you had company stock or whatever it was, you felt comfortable with it, you really didn't look at it on a day-to-day basis, then it was okay because your goal was long-term and we weren't taking income from it. But as you go into retirement, the behavior changes a little bit and you're a little bit more cognizant of what the value of that portfolio is, because you're no longer working, getting the paycheck, contributing to the retirement plan or to your savings. And what if, bam, the value of your money goes from here down to here and you're generating income? It's very difficult to overcome that type of scenario once you're deep into retirement. So the portfolio has to be in a place where you feel, if you're a 4 or a 5 on that scale of 1 to 10, then you need to make sure your portfolio is a 4 to 5, that it's in alignment with those goals, and then to make sure that you maintain a disciplined approach. Now, as we've been going through this pandemic, it's been very interesting and not unlike, the Great Recession of 2008 or the early 2000s, which was the bubble back then, the tech bubble, where we had 3 successive years of negative returns. We haven't seen that since then. Doesn't mean it can't happen again, but it happened then. What happens during those times with your money management? Well, when you're retiring, again, the behavior is a little bit different. Your time frame's different, your expectations are different, and you start to take a look at your money management in a different fashion. Well, what we have done with our clients in terms of guiding them through particularly this pandemic year is to continually remind them to divorce the emotions and the headlines from the money management and the decisions there. Now, studies show that during the pandemic, almost $1 trillion of money came out of equities or equity funds and went to the sidelines or went to bond funds that were returning close to nothing with the interest rates as low as they are. People were just looking for safe havens. The problem with that was that these people overreacted and didn't get back into the market. It's one thing to get out, but when do you get back in? You have to make both points of that decision correctly in order to be able to time the market. And I don't believe in timing the market because you can't generally make the right decision coming out and the right decision going back in. So as we take a look at this particular year, 2020 of the pandemic, we had that precipitous decline and then the greatest acceleration of returns just after that. We're back to pre-pandemic levels. If all you did, and I tell my clients this all the time, if you took a nap starting on January 1st and it's now the fall and we woke up now, nothing happened. You were up a little bit in your portfolio, probably with a well-balanced portfolio. Certainly no guarantees for any future performance, but it's more about aligning your goals with a proper, balanced money management approach and having the discipline to stay during both the good and the bad times, because you don't want to get seduced when things are going up and go, I need more money in the equities. As a matter of fact, my 91-year-old mother called me recently. And she said to me, the market looks pretty good. Should we be getting more into the stock market? I went, Mom, are you kidding me? We're just fine where we are. We've overcome, the impact of withdrawals, inflation. You've pretty much maintained the value of your principal over many years. I really don't see the need to, be increasing the risk at this stage of your life. Her answer to me was, and it's an answer I get a lot, but everybody else is making money. Well, that was her perception. But that study I shared with you shows that a lot of people were not making that kind of money because they'd gotten out. So to wrap this all up, getting back to what I said initially, where I think our industry has not done you a good service. So much of the focus has been on, particularly for those who've had financial advisors before during their accumulation years, it's been on the money management. That is not what's going to drive us in terms of our confidence levels as we now go into retirement. It is much more about the goal setting and the planning than it is about the money management, but you still have to stay on top of the money management to make sure that you are still in a well-balanced, according to your goals, disciplined approach and make minor adjustments along the way as life changes, as your needs change. And if we focus on that, aligning your goals with your money management, then I believe that you'll be much more in a position where, again, we ask the question, I know that you've worked hard for it, you want to enjoy it. Therefore, we have to change our approach just slightly when it comes to planning. And that's where our 7 steps come into play. If you want to learn more about the 7 steps, certainly take a look at our playlist. And I truly hope that you enjoy the retirement journey.